I'll second. Any discussion, additions, corrections, or other modifications? If not, would you please call the roll?
Phil Beer.
Aye.
Justin Clevenger.
Aye.
Bill Fry.
Aye.
Dave Richter.
Aye.
All right. Don't have, next item is the President's report. I don't have a whole lot to say. First of all, I thank you for your support and my reelection. I also wanted to take some time to thank Sam for all his accomplishments last year, and I know he's got some interesting things to tell us about today, and also Haley for her wonderful support of our
It's a nice way to say
crazy
it.
group. Third item, I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that Pittman Partners has filed for a rezoning of the land. Kind of hard to describe. It's part of the reserve at Union Woodlands plot that they were rejecting
South
on
and west.
south and west, and they want the lower part of that. They want to put a road through to Union Woodlands from their development on 421 and build, I forget the number of houses, but anyway, that's up for discussion at the Plan Commission meeting on the 20th of this month. That's what, Monday, next Monday. Do we have any public comments at this time? Apparently not. Next time is Airport Director's report.
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, first things first, we were supposed to have a flight check, 4 or 5 times over the last month, and we're 0 for 5 now, because they were supposed to be here today or tomorrow. Probably not going to happen with the weather.
Don't jinx it.
So maybe 0 for 6. So we've been trying desperately to get this flight check off the ground, no pun intended. It is technically, I think, scheduled for tomorrow. I don't know if I love our chances, but we'll see. But once that is done, this runway extension work will be completed, but we have had a heck of a time getting them to come out and do the work. So hopefully at this point next month it's done, but I cannot guarantee anything. We are still working with Zionsville to figure out the future of that south land, that 20 acres we've been looking to purchase. So Mike and I have been working on that, and Bill as well, a little bit, and we're trying to figure out what the best way forward is. So maybe more information to come on this. I think everyone did get a memo that was sent out today that gives a little bit more information, but this is still very active, and we're still trying to figure out the best path forward for this RPZ land. All right, Customs facility. Customs did tentatively approve our 3,000 square foot design. I shared that at last month's board meeting. They like the design. However, through the process, essentially we need to start the design process for them to give us an official approval. So they basically said, yeah, this looks good, go ahead and start the design. We need to get through that phase, the 30, 60, 90% design phases, in order to get an official approval from them. But we definitely have positive comments on it, and we've been told to continue marching on this. So right now we're working with Wolpert on the design of the facility. We hope to have a contract next month on that. So we'll probably have a lot more information on how that's going to look at the February board meeting. But just know that we have essentially an approved or tentatively approved layout for the facility. So things are looking really good there. I did meet with Mr. Stoneybeck and the Indiana Secretary of Commerce a few weeks ago to discuss some possible state funding for this project as well. So we're looking at some possible additional funding options from the state of Indiana. So potentially some more information to come on that as that materializes. All right, so kind of my big project for sharing with the board tonight is we're working on an access control system project. So an access control system, these are actually very common at airports, especially ones like ours, but these are essentially a badging system that we put onto all of our doors that go into, we'll call them controlled areas, whether that's the hangar or the ramp. Very similar to what Bex has in the Bex hangar, if you guys have ever been to that hangar. So the FBO facility, flight school, they haven't had anything like that. So we've been working on getting a project off the ground that will include badges and access control system scanners at all of our public-facing doors in the facility. So we see this as a really important project for security at the airport, especially potentially with the customs facility coming on board later this year or early next year. We want to make sure that we have kind of the ramp and the hangars locked down a little bit more. So we actually used encumbered funds for this project. So we did encumber the $24,500 that you can see on my report here. So it's actually last year's funds that'll be used for this. But I do need board approval to execute the project. And assuming we get board approval tonight, then they're ready to start as early as tomorrow on getting the project up and running. So we hope to have this all installed within the next couple of weeks or so. And of course, anyone that wants one can get a badge from here. So we have plenty of them. But I'm, throwing it out to the board. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, then would love to get an approval on this project.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the project for a badging system for, security system for the exterior doors at TYQ. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Questions you want to ask Sam? Okay, and since there's no discussion, no questions, we'll call the motion. Please call the roll call, please.
Phil Beer,
Aye.
Justin Clevenger,
Aye.
Kent Erb,
Aye.
Bill Fry,
Aye.
Dave Richter.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
All right, great.
We're set to go.
Thank you. Yeah. As we get this up and running, I'll make sure to reach out to everyone and see who wants or needs a badge, and we'll get you one issued. All right, so throughout the last month, as everyone's probably well aware, we battled a lot of snow and ice storms. It's been a heck of a winter. In fact, I'm wondering if that's where some of our jet access folks are tonight, potentially battling some of the elements that we've had. It's been unrelenting, and to the point where we've actually had to already place our second order of airfield salt. So we placed an order at the beginning of the season, and we've already placed a second one. So that's how you know that we're going, well, this will be our second semi-truck this year of airfield salt. So it's been a year. But I do want to give kudos to Jet Access for all the hard work that they've done in battling those storms, including on holidays too, over the last couple of weeks. We did finally pick up our new Polaris UTV, so we picked that up last Friday. So the picture unfortunately did not make it into the report this month, but we'll make sure to get a picture into the next one. It looks great. It's got all the features and everything we need on it. It's got the plow mounted on there, so we're ready to battle any snow. If we get any accumulation tonight, I'm sure we'll be using it. But just want to thank the board for kind of working through that process with us over the last month. And again, it's going to be a great addition to the airport. It's already actually proved useful yesterday when we had to get to some hard to reach spots in the airfield. So
Who's cleaning the mud off of it?
that's a great question. I need another intern is what I need. So I'll work on getting one, and they can clean the mud. We need like a rug or something like that we can drive over. All right, and then finally we completed our annual fire inspection with the Zionsville Fire Department. This was last week. They came out, only had a couple of minor corrections that we're working on throughout the facility, nothing too major, just some exit signs that need batteries, and that is about it. So another good year during our fire inspection, good results. For Sheridan, Ben was not here tonight, unfortunately, but he's been very busy up at the Sheridan Airport, working on all kinds of projects. We actually just completed finally our hose reel, our electric hose reel installation for the pump there. So that was a final part of the fuel system upgrade project. So that was just completed. And then we're also working on repairing some damaged pavement and metal on the Hangar A ramp that's out there. Potentially caused by snow plows throughout the heavy snow season we've had. Those are kind of the big things for Sheridan this last month. All right, and then just some pictures that I normally include. I want to highlight that top one. That was actually really interesting. We had a college charter come through. This was the Georgetown women's basketball team that actually flew in to our airport for a game against Butler. So just another example of why having that 7,000 feet is important. It opens avenues for different operations that we normally wouldn't have had before. So this was a 30-person charter, essentially a commercial aircraft that came through. It wasn't a commercial aircraft, it was a charter, but essentially the size of one, a Saab 2000. And they were able to come through, they got some fuel and dropped off 30 people. So hoping to see more of these operations in the future. And then just a couple other pictures of the busy operations, and of course us unloading our semi-truck of salt. And that is all I had for this month. Pending any questions from the board, that's what I have for you this evening.
Okay, thanks. All right.
Thank you.
Jet access, you have anything to tell us tonight?
Not a lot. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. So, yes, some of the team is battling the snow, or making sure that we don't have to battle the snow and being on standby. And then we've got some other team out just dealing with sick families and things. So, just want to appreciate everybody for coming out to the holiday party and for a great year. Great video, Sam. Thank you for putting that together and highlighting all the activities at the airport over the year. We finished up just a little bit over last year, about 50,000 gallons or so. I think more, maybe a little bit more than that, but than we did in 2026 or 2025. 2025 was more than 2024. Let's get all the years together here. And that probably would have been a little better had it not been for we took a pretty hard hit in April, May for about the 6-week project with the runway closures. So if you kind of look at kind of where the trends are, they should be a little bit better in 2026. And that's kind of what we're forecasting is kind of steady growth. Obviously, we've got the hangars under construction. Those are kind of in a holding pattern for this month. I think we're almost to full state approval of the designs. I think we're just waiting on a couple things. I think we're waiting to hear back from Drainage Board as well. So everything's been submitted to the state, and then we'll come back to you all probably at the beginning of next month for a final building permit and release. So. But everything is still continuing forward, and hopefully we'll have actually steel next month and be able to dig foundation footers because you did approve that. Hopefully the end of this month actually. Still, hopefully within the next couple weeks. So start on some foundation footers. So that project continues to move forward, and as of the moment is completely sold out. So figuring out what's next is kind of on the plate at the moment. So had some good discussions with Sam and Nick and the team here to try to figure out how we continue pushing projects forward, because we do think that with customs and other things that it's going to continue to grow. So outside of that, not really much else to announce. So if anybody's got any questions, happy to answer.
No, I just wanted to also congratulate you on the holiday party. I thought it was great.
Good. Glad
Good food,
glad
good
several of
company.
you here and on screen were able to join us. So it was a fun day, and yeah. So we're looking forward to 2026.
Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Wilbur Engineering.
I'm going to skip over the ILS since Sam covered it. We're diligently trying to get that accomplished, as you can imagine. The lighting project, we received the final reimbursable agreement financials and final report for that. So we are in possession of everything we need to do closeout documentation. So that's what we are doing right now. Once we have that all finished, we'll submit all that to the FAA and receive that final 10% or so of reimbursement from that grant. The Taxway Alpha extension, that construction project, operational, as everyone knows. We're currently still coordinating with the contractor for final construction quantities. Again, once all that has been received, we'll do grant closeout information. We will come back in the spring to just assure that the seeding and all the erosion is taken care of, or if there's anything that needs to be done, we'll do that then as well. As you can see, the key remaining items for Woolpert include as-built ADIP updates and other things, such as the runway protection zone for updates and things of that nature. Moving on, the north ramp and the Taxway Alpha rehabilitation, I've been reporting on those similarly. There's no real tangible update for these. The north ramp, we continue to advocate for this project to the state. In fact, I was with Sam on Friday, and we were in communication with the state engineering group and just letting them know how full the ramp was on Friday for the IU game and everyone leaving and stuff. And we had a note of a taxiway closed in order to fit more people on the ramp and things of that nature. And we made sure the state knew about it. So That, along with the bigger aircraft and wider wingspans, should hopefully help give a good narrative to make some of these projects that are key to the growth of the airport get funded. The taxiway alpha rehabilitation, as you can recall, we put the plans on the shelf at 90% to get through the extension construction, since that construction is now in hibernation or complete. We did pick those plans back up, and we are completing those to 100%, at which time we'll put it back on the shelf and wait for the right time to bid that project, which will most likely be at the end of this year or the beginning of 27. And the last thing that I have is the Custom Border Patrol. Sam gave an update. I just wanted to elaborate on that just slightly. We're working on a scope and fee. We anticipate having that. We have a draft complete right now that's going through internal review and just finalizing it. I did briefly discuss it with Sam on Friday while we met. Just talked high level about it, expectations, things of that nature. So we do intend to have that for the board's review and approval at next month's board meeting. Now, that doesn't mean that we've stopped progress on the design of the building. We are still progressing forward between now and then to make sure the timeline is as tight as possible so that we can get that building open as efficiently and as quickly as we possibly can. So that's all the updates that I have for Woolpert.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I don't see any old business or any new business. Legal counsel report. First of all, let me congratulate or console David Friend and Mike for being reappointed to the airport attorneys.
Yeah, well, one of our clients is the drainage board, and David got appointed the head, and I'm now the assistant. So we're working it out, and one thing I do want to talk about a little bit, and this is kind of unfinished business, but it's going to come to a head. We've talked a long time about this RPZ acquisition, and with all due respect, I think our sellers have been somewhat less than candid about the status of demands that are in place from Zionsville. Last month, we went to Zionsville to kind of talk about what their input would be on the potential uses of the RPZ and the restrictions in that area, and try to look at making that compatible with their plans to use 35 acres, which includes all of our area, as a city park. And as we get deeper in that, we find that the developer who's trying to sell us an easement is already committed to dedicate that ground to Zionsville. So I know Sam's been trying to we met with Zionsville last month, and with a commitment we'd get back together after the first year, and Sam's trying to get that together. And we expect we will have, if we can get with Zionsville and get most of that done, we'll get together an exec and talk about a substantial modification and substantial savings to us to get the same thing that someone was trying to sell us, even though they probably didn't have all of those rights. So that's about all I want to say in the open meeting, and we'll work forward on that. And I think this is, I know the developer's in a hurry to start a subdivision out there this spring, so it ought to come close pretty soon. And when it does, there may be some available funds for other things that we need to use, removing more trees, possibly, if there's anything left, putting it into customs. And I've talked to Brad about the appropriation. We will have to get another appropriation because we did not have a complete signed agreement in order to encumber those funds. So we'll be starting with that, but it's going to take us several weeks to get everything in order, and look forward to reporting on that. Also, want to commend my colleague Dave. He's been working with the auditor on this Polaris issue and where the money came from and who it should be titled in and who should insure it and such and such. And Dave's done a good job, and we got that online. And if there's any formal approvals, we'll have those to you at your next meeting. Dave, you got anything else to add?
Nope, that's all. That's a pretty good job. All right, thank you, Mike and Dave. Let's see, county council report.
Yeah, I got a few items I want to go over here, all of them having to do with Sheridan. Wolper, you guys have got drawings of airport. Give me a thumbnail ballpark number of what an overlay for that hard surface runway would cost. I don't know what the standard is, 3 inches, 6 inches, but do a quick, so I have a number in my head of what we need if we ever did that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Number 2, I think we should buy a lawnmower. We needed a snow plow, but buying a truck with a snow plow when the snow is coming down is not the appropriate time. But if it's snowing, might be the right time to buy a lawnmower. I would say call Highway and Parks. There's probably a preferred vendor that gives us a good deal, but we got a spot for it, and we got a guy that knows how to drive it. We probably ought to get one, you know what I'm saying?
Are you thinking a zero turn
Yeah.
or, okay?
Yeah, that's what I
That'd be
think.
pretty easy.
Brad, if
Yes, sir.
if you meet that spec, the highway department has been working with a service that provides those units to government, and it's one that you don't have to go out and
Yeah.
competitively bid and go to all that trouble.
Yeah, I would figure between Highway and Parks, they know where the deal is. So
Highways probably, I'd go to them first.
And then, one other thing is kind of miscellaneous. I would like to have folding chairs and a trolley. They're just examples. For the room at Sheridan, I'd like to have 20 folding chairs and a little trolley to roll them around on. I think it would be a big asset to that room, and then some of our friends can take their chairs home with them. See what you understand? These are nice because they're plastic and don't weigh much.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's easy enough.
Just an idea. Also, the last thing I've got, I've talked to you guys before, I'd like for us to move to a quarterly lease agreement with our renters out there at Sheridan. What I would propose is, our assistant Kelly's here sometime in the next week or so. I'll set up a meeting with Sam, Kelly, and your dynamic assistant, and we'll work out exactly what we need to do. It needs to be done, needs to be on paper. I got some office assistants, that way you guys just, this is what we want. It'll just magically happen. You can do the final approval and we'll mail them out. I think they gotta be mailed out, I think that's what you were telling me, in
I
the
would think so.
physical mail. What I'm thinking is, we'll use the community commemorative Air Force's lease as an example. Then put everybody, all of our other renters' name in there, send them to that, and a letter saying, hey, we want to go to quarterly leasing, and we want you to pay in advance.
So the lease itself would be for like a year, but your payments would be on a quarterly basis? Is that what
Yes,
you're saying?
I
Yeah, okay.
don't envision changing the terms of the
Okay,
lease.
that's, I
just
just
the
wanted to
payment.
clarify that, yeah.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? See any problem with that day? We'll we'll pull you in.
Yeah, and Sam and I talked about it earlier this morning. I mean, I don't, if you guys are okay with that, whatever we did, the lease for the commemorative Air Force, if we could change those terms for the old ones too, we were on board with doing that. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's exactly, I'm using it as a template, just
Yep.
change the guy who's renting.
Yeah.
This is where we're gonna go, you know what I mean?
The only question I had outstanding, I think you might have said it in a previous meeting, do we want all of the leases to have an end date all at the same time? So
Yeah.
maybe we just renew them.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, we renew all of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what I'm thinking is, if we can put this if we can get everybody to agree and get Kelly to actually do the heavy lifting on the, print them out,
Yep.
whatnot. I would like to get them in the renter's hand by March. That way we can start second quarter, which is April. You know what I mean? And then we're on a quarterly,
Rolling quarter.
yeah.
Something that David and I had talked about is we have maybe 6 or so current leases that are still, that aren't month to month yet. So like their initial term hasn't expired. Some of them go until April. I think there might be a couple that go until May of
Right.
this year.
Yeah.
Do we want to null those out, or do you want to wait?
Why
until
don't
those
we
expire?
look at it, we'll do the lion's share of them, and if there's one or two that have a different date, other than April, starting in
Start date.
April.
We can always wait, or we can just ask if they're interested in signing.
Signing.
Yeah, if you've
Yeah.
got one or two that have a different date, we could always
Right.
Give them the
date
option.
them differently.
Starting July 1.
If they're,
So that they
if it's not
be on
month to
the same
month.
schedules there.
And then we've got a couple that are just gonna expire in another year or so, and they won't be renewed.
We also have the Hangar A lease, which does not expire until 2027, I think it is. That one's pretty far out.
Yeah,
That's for
we
the
can
big
exempt
hangar.
that.
We can exempt that one, all
Yeah,
right.
I just like to get
All
all,
the other individual TVs.
yeah, and
Okay.
we really don't have a problem with them.
No.
Some of them forget, we just finally got everybody paid up for 2025. We've been monitoring it fairly closely of who hadn't paid, and Kelly sends them an email. And I just think, and I've talked to you about this before, if you get a hotel room, you don't get the room to, you know, this paying in arrears stuff is old school. But anyway, I'll get Kelly to get with Sam, see what his schedule is, see if we can just sit down for half an hour. This is what we want to do. Let's put this stuff together, and without a whole lot of extra work on your half, we'll just put it together, let you look at it, send it to them, and then we can start listening to the complaints. Okay? That's all I got.
All right, let's see, Secretary's report.
Okay, I need approval of vendor claims for Indy Exec Airport in the amount $3,289,635.38. And I just want to mention that we moved 1.4 million from our grant fund to our capital fund, and then we repaid the general fund 1.4 million towards our council loan.
Okay.
Last year or this month?
We paid it last year.
December.
What was it, 1.3?
1.4.
Only 1.6 to go, huh?
Hey,
Who's counting?
it's a start.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second? I'll second it.
Second.
We got 2 seconds. Any further discussion? If not, would you call the roll, please?
Phil Beer,
Aye.
Justin Clevenger,
Aye.
Kent Erb,
Aye.
Bill Fry,
Aye.
Dave Richter.
Aye.
Okay, and then I need approval of vendor claims for Sheridan Airport in the amount $5,924.07.
So I moved, we.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. These delays over the phones are getting,
Yeah.
go ahead, whoever was talking.
Yep, so moved by Justin. Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Haley, call the roll, please.
Phil Beer,
Aye.
Justin Clevenger,
Aye.
Kent Erb,
Aye.
Bill Fry,
Aye.
Dave Richter.
Aye.
Okay, and then approval of payroll claims.
I move that we approve the payroll claims.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Haley, please call the roll.
Phil Beer,
Aye.
Justin Clevenger, Kent Erb,
Aye.
Bill Fry,
Aye.
Dave Richter.
Aye.
Okay, with that, our next meeting is on, looking here, I think it's February 10th, it looks like, no, February 11th. So,
Bill?
yeah,
Um,
Hey, Bill, before we get to the conclusion, I have one thing I want to ask Sam and Nick. With the moving forward of the plans for the design of the interior of the customs office, seems like it is becoming more and more imperative that we need a pretty good cost estimate for both the build out of the customs office and then separately for the ongoing carrying costs, including staff members and FAA employees, et cetera, that we would be responsible for paying. I don't know that we've seen that yet, and that seems like that's something that if we don't get that going really quick, we're gonna be behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, so we're.
Is somebody working on that's my question.
Yes, so we have rough cost estimates for everything. We're obviously working with Wolpert to get more of a fine-tuned estimate for the design build of the facility itself. For the personnel cost, we have a really good idea of what that's going to cost. We just don't know whether we're going to have 1 or 2 employees yet. That's something that we are working on with some of the local municipalities, because essentially what we've said is that Hamilton County can cover the cost of an employee, but that second employee changes things, and we're going to need some of our community partners to step up a little bit and cover that cost. And we don't have anything signed saying that yet, but we are working on an MOU between ourselves, Boone County, Zionsville, Westfield, potentially Lebanon, that will help codify those extra expenses that the other municipalities would split to some capacity. So that's being worked.
Sorry, how can you be working on an MOU if we don't know how much they cost?
Well, we know exactly how much each employee is going to cost.
Yeah, the
But we don't.
CPP has given us a pretty detailed
Yeah.
breakdown of the cost for each employee. The question is whether we need 1 or 2.
So we have a pretty certain feeling on how much each employee costs. It's just a matter of 1 or 2. For that second employee, we're looking at a percentage split between the other municipalities for that annual operating cost of the second employee. So say that second employee cost, we'll make even numbers here, $200,000. That would require $50,000 from each of the community partners on an annual basis to put towards that employee. And so we're looking at essentially doing maybe like a trial period, like a 3-year initial agreement between these municipalities to fund that second employee, for that to be reassessed after 3 years, essentially. But that's what we're looking at. Again, the MOU hasn't been finalized or anything yet, so I don't have anything really to bring to you guys, but that's what the conversation at the table has been. So hope to have a little bit more clarity on that in the next, hopefully 1 to 2 months or so. We'll say first quarter of this year. And then have obviously something to bring to you guys, but that's the annual operating cost factor of it. And then, of course, hopefully, I think by next month, you guys will have at least an agreement to bring to us on the design of the facility.
Sam, the costs are more than the employee, though. It's also the actual facility ongoing costs, correct?
Yeah, so there is a personnel cost and then facility cost. That's kind of factored into that number I threw out there. I closed my computer, so I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but those are both costs that we've looked at in terms of factoring into our annual operating cost. So yes, there will be the sole cost of providing that employee, and then there will be an additional cost for electricity, internet, maintenance, janitorial services, items like that for the facility as well that we'll have to burden as well.
I just wondered also, I don't think that Westfield's been given ballpark numbers, have they? I've had some discussion, but I didn't want to give numbers. Have you gotten that information to them?
Yeah, they have all the information, and they've been invited to all of our planning meetings as well. So they've been or at least invited to all the meetings that we've had with the different municipalities going back to maybe summer of last year. They've been to 1 or 2 of them, not the most recent ones, but they've been given the presentations at least for all of them. So they should have those same numbers that everyone else has been given.
I don't think Westfield has those numbers.
Okay. All right, I can send it to him again. Do you have anything else you want to throw in?
No, I think I answered
Okay.
them.
Do you envision a time where these things are gonna get written down and in detail, here's all the things that are going to be carrying costs, employees, expenses, trash, whatever goes along with it for the ongoing costs, and then separately a detailed cost estimate of here's how much it's gonna cost to put in all the rooms finishing and all the whatever equipment that the FAA requires for the customs office to have?
I think Sam has done some of the legwork on that. Our scope of work will pick up the difference, and Sam and I can work together on what is missing from what he has and what needs to be included, and then we can put that together as we're progressing with the design. I would say probably in 2 months we'll have a good 50 to 60% draft of where we are. We will be bringing on an estimator on our sub consultant team in order to reach out to specific vendors and get pricing and construction costs so that we'll have a good confident feel over all the particulars within this project.
If I could put my 2 cents in, my understanding is we know the personnel costs. CBP has given us that. We've got a pretty good handle on that. Maybe it's gone up 5%. What we don't know is, things like the incidentals, like computer, phone, all that other stuff. But we can't determine that until CBP tells us what we need to put in it in terms of equipment. So once they approve the design and then they come back and tell us, oh yeah, we like the design, here's the equipment that has to go in. Once we get that, we'll have a better handle on what the operating cost for that equipment was going to be. We know the personnel, and then the other part of it is the capital build-out, which again is we're waiting what you guys are going to give us in terms of the design. So, kind of make you feel a little better, Dave. I think we've got a handle on all these things. We just don't have the specifics, and a lot of the specifics are going to depend on what Customs tells us we need in terms of equipment inside the building. Is that?
Yeah, and that's why I said give us 2 to 3 months to work through the design, which gives us time to coordinate with their office for those specific details on what equipment and things of that nature, what rooms need to be secured and locked down, and things like that. At which time we provide that information to our cost estimating team partner, and they refine the details as much as we can.
Does that clarify?
So Nick, you're thinking, Nick, that we'll have that by April?
I think so.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great to see. Do we have a very good idea of just a ballpark number of how much it's going to cost and who's paying for it and where it's coming from? I'm a little uncomfortable that I don't know the answer to those things.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We've went over that in other meetings. I'm not really wanting to talk about that in a meeting that's going over the internet. We went over this.
So the general, at least, understanding is there's enough money out there ready to go to take care of this. That's not expected to be a problem.
We're working on the funding part. We have some of it, not all of it. So that's an item that we are working in the background to shore up all the extra funding.
I think Sam is going to a lot of different sources within the county and within the state to get some commitments on funding, and I think right now we're reasonably optimistic that we'll have enough money available to do the capital part of it, the one time, and then commitments from the communities that are the ones that are interested in this facility. Boone County, Zionsville, all those areas are really pushing this, so I think pretty confident that we're gonna come up with funding for the salary part of it. Jack,
All right, thank you.
all right.
Bill, one other thing, if we're through with this
Yeah.
issue. As I look around the room this evening, not begrudging anyone from getting out of this weather, but the statute which allows us to have remote participation for our meetings also requires us to have at least 2 members present in the room. I think maybe we head down the road with a 2-pronged approach. First of all, if you know what your schedule's going to be, and I don't begrudge anybody wanting to get out of this weather, but if you know what the schedule is, if you could get it into us so we can see if there's going to be a problem, and then at the same time, Dave and I will go to the commissioners and see if we can get an alternate appointed to fill in case we get down, because the remote participation's great, but it only goes so far. So we've got to have 2 people in the room, and between customs, RPZ, we've got a lot of things on the burner, and we're going to need to have an active meeting, I believe, every month.
I agree.
So if you could give us your out-of-town schedule, and then we'll sit down and look at it and see when we've got a problem, and if we got a foreseeable problem, we'll see if we can get an alternate appointed, somebody that's relatively poor and can't afford to get rid of it out of this God-forsaken climate.
Tell us how you really feel, Mike. All right. Anything else? I don't see any tabled items, so